at what point does a pick stop becoming a disposable accessory and becomes a precision tool? Let's talk about the $35 BlueChip pick. All right, we got the pick in. This is what it looks like when it comes to your door. It's in this padded envelope and it comes USPS ground. Let's take a look. Made in Knoxville, Tennessee. So I picked up the BC Jazz Large, and what I'd like to do is just take this out real quick and get a nice feel for it. Yeah, that's interesting. Feels pretty good. So immediately what I'm feeling is this doesn't feel like plastic. So this is a standard Jazz 3, and this is, I believe, nylon. It just feels like plastic. This is the other Jazz 3 in a different thickness. So obviously there's no texture to this, but it does feel sticky, like it's not going to be moving. And the bevel is very smooth. It's polished. Now these are old picks, but they don't feel polished to me. This feels pretty quality. So I said it didn't feel like plastic, but it's made from something called Vespel, which is an aerospace grade polyamide. It's made by DuPont. It was originally engineered for like jet engines and NASA and really kind of high temperature applications. It makes sense for someone who is building picks to want to use a material that has an insanely high heat resistance and wear resistance. Vespel is also extremely expensive, evidently. Apparently, that Wall Street Journal video claimed that a 10 by 10 inch piece of material costs over $5,000. So that makes sense, it being sort of like an aerospace, sort of high-tech material. And it also makes sense that someone would want to try this for a pick material. So these picks aren't injection molded like every other pick in the world. They're machined from a solid piece of this Vespel material. The bevel itself is also machined and polished. There are quite a few big name celebrities using these picks, including John Mayer, Billy Strings, and even Steve Martin. So the holy grail of pick material has always been hawksbill sea turtle shell. And those poor creatures are nearly extinct because they had been harvested for centuries. Their shell was used for things like jewelry and combs, and sadly, guitar picks. I don't want to talk too much about this, but it was a pretty disgusting harvesting method. Those poor turtles were boiled alive, and they were poached pretty much all across the tropics. Entire reefs were stripped of these poor creatures. So my opinion, why the hawksbill sea turtle shell has always been the holy grail for a guitar pick material, is because all guitarists are looking for is a material that resembles and mimics the human fingernail. And in order to mimic the human fingernail, you need an organic material. And it just makes sense that they were using tortoiseshell for so many years. So enough talking. Let's go ahead and start to actually use this. Let's go and pluck a few notes. So it's super curious how electric guitar players are always talking about tone wood. Yet rarely do we ever hear about strings, the actual thing that makes the sound. Now, I see tone as sort of a triangle. 3 points, where you have the actual string that makes the actual sound, and then you have the thing that actuates the string, whether that's your pick or your finger. And then for a solid body electric guitar, we have the thing that captures that sound, which is the pickup. So for me, that's kind of like the triangle, and everything else is gravy. So I believe that a $35 pick represents a logical leap in the right direction. If you think about the amount of money we spend on boutique instruments and very expensive gear, whether you're into the modeling side or boutique amps, it's pretty pricey either way. So it just makes sense that we would go from these disposable plastic things Just something just a little bit more boutique, a little bit more special, something that we would never think about even throwing away or tossing. To me, it just makes sense. Now, there's a lot of hype over this, and I've already played with it a little bit, and I already have some sort of thoughts on it. So let me just play just a couple of notes, and I'll kind of play a couple of notes with some other picks as well. So that's the $35 BlueChip pick. I'm going to play now with the kind of classic Dunlop Jazz 3, which was my main pick for decades. I started off using the Jazz 3 XLs by Dunlop, and the reason being because of the bevel. The bevels were smooth, and they really did reduce the sharpness of the attack. And I like that because I was a Strat player for a long time. And then I kind of graduated to Misha Mansour's company. These are his own take on the Jazz 3, and I like these a lot. And just depending on the situation, I move back and forth between picks. I think every guitar calls for its own pick almost. But these days I'm using the prime tones. These are Dunlop's prime tones at 1.4 millimeters. These are made out of Ultem, and Ultem I think is a fantastic material. And this is what I've been using ever since, these Ultems, prime tones. And I've already noticed a pretty big difference between the BlueChip and the Ultem. So I'm going to play with the Ultem real quick. Now the BlueChip. So again, I don't think that there is a drastic sense of change in the tone. It's a feel difference for sure. Where the Jazz 3s, the bevels tend to roll off the highs of the attack. The prime tones tend to accentuate the sharpness of the attack. And I think that the BlueChip falls somewhere in the middle. The bevels are polished, highly polished, probably more so than any pick that's manufactured today by big companies. And it's just a glide that really you're getting from this pick that I'm not finding with any others. So let's listen to that glide. And then just with the Ultem prime tones, BlueChip. So there's definitely a reduction in the sharpness because a lot of these picks, right, that are manufactured with standard manufacturing processes, they tend to have bevels, but the bevels are not like highly polished. So there's sort of a sharpness to their attack. And that's the feel I'm talking about. You can feel that sort of like friction, where with the BlueChip, it's a reduction of the friction. There's a glide. So I think this is, again, mostly feel, but there's certainly something happening with the attack. So let's try to do some like chord strumming with it. See how it does against several strings. Now we'll go back to the prime tone. BlueChip. You're not going to really hear a lot of difference there, but there is definitely a feel difference. That's gliding. Go back to the prime tone. There's a little bit more resistance. So let's talk about resistance then, because this is a feel thing. So we're feeling basically the push of the pick against the string, and there should be some resistance based on the friction or the lack of friction because of the high polishing. And I want to say that right off the bat, since I just got this pick and I'm so used to my prime tones, that I prefer the prime tones because I'm used to that. Like my wrist is used to that. I'm used to the bounce and the level of force that's required to actuate the string as the pick pushes through the string, where this is a very unfamiliar feel to me because it is extremely polished and it's a little bit different for me. So this would take some time to get used to. It's definitely a feel thing, and I get it. Like, it feels good to hold a $35 pick, just like it feels good to hold a $3,000 guitar playing through a $4,000 amp. Like, it feels good, right? And I get it. People don't want to just take a normal pick you can pick up for a couple of bucks because it doesn't have that same sort of special feeling. And guitarists are like that. They're very, very subjective, and it's all about what makes them feel good and what makes them want to pick things up to play. So I do consider the BlueChip to be a highly precise precision tool, a remarkable, again, companion. This is no longer an accessory that's disposable. This is a companion to your guitar. So I can see throwing one of these or a couple of them in a case here and there. It makes sense. I get it. But I don't really find myself abandoning the Dunlop prime tones at 1.4 mil. These just feel comfortable and familiar to me. But the BlueChip is a really cool pick. So, what are my thoughts? Well, definitely try it if you're into it. There's a lot that goes into these picks. Not only is it just a very expensive aerospace grade material, but there's a lot going on. They have to temper these with heat in order to get them to actually be slightly flexible. Now, in terms of flex, that's a huge big one here because I'm getting a little bit more flex in the prime tones, almost none whatsoever with the Misha Mansour's pick, and then a lot of flex with the Dunlop Jazz 3. The BlueChip is very hard to flex. It's very stiff feeling. And that could be part of the whole feel thing too. So I get it. I understand why mandolin players in particular love these things because you want to have that sort of stiffness to really get those like really kind of fast sort of runs. I get it. It's a fast pick. That's one of the reasons why I love the Jazz 3 so much. And I'm actually hearing and feeling the sharpness with the Jazz 3 that I'm not getting from the BlueChip because of that high polish. And again, the flex thing is not there. I don't feel any flex in it. And a lot of people like that. I prefer something sort of in the middle. This is the prime tone, which I can't really bend, but there's definitely some flex as opposed to the BlueChip. And the other thing is grip, which I thought it was kind of interesting because when you get to like the Jazz 3s, you have that sort of embossed, protruding text, which helps with actual grip, but it was never great at grip. Not until I got into the prime tones. The prime tones also have sort of this kind of protruding text, but it's in this sort of like circular motion, and it really has the most intense grip I've ever played on a pick. It's really good. But it also allows you to sort of like reposition if you need to, because you don't want to be stuck with a grip where you could be holding the pick wrong. You want to reposition. And the interesting thing about the BlueChip is there's no grip surface, but for some reason it's grippy. Yeah, for some reason it's just like grippy, and I can't really explain why, but it just stays in place, which is kind of nice. So just something to consider regarding the price, because I know that's sort of the big hurdle for everybody. Professional violinists wouldn't think twice about spending thousands of dollars on a bow. And for all practical purposes, this is how we actuate a string. This is our bow. And it doesn't make sense to like not spend money on a really high precision tool like this. It makes perfect sense. So this was never meant to be a review or some kind of tonal comparison between picks. It was meant to be sort of a quiet look into the first point of contact in your tone, the place where everything begins. A simple shape, a single bevel, and a little bit of friction. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.